Hi. I'm kind of nervous. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I have a lot of plant things that I need to tackle and need to get my plant babies together and get some of them on poles and repotted. And I thought we'd just kind of chill and talk, and I'm gonna try my best to chill, talk, and do the things at the same time, because I find multitasking can be kind of hard for me when it comes to doing this and this. So yeah, I asked some questions. I did a post on YouTube and I asked for you to ask me questions, and boy did you guys ask the questions. Let's see, there's about 245 questions here. I can't imagine me getting to them all, but I think we can get a good amount. So I try and do this and not have the video be hours long, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, let me get myself situated first. So I'm so used to the fast-paced life of social media, of short form, that the idea of me kind of just vibing and talking, it feels odd to me. I feel like I have to go fast. I don't need to go fast. I just need to talk. And naturally, I'm pretty chill. Like, obviously when I get excited, I get super pumped and I'm like going, but usually I'm kind of calm. So if you notice some awkwardness, just know I'm just trying to figure this out and get used to this. So, okay, let's start. I'm gonna scroll all the way to the first question. Look at that, look at that. Look at those questions. I browsed a little, but I really want it to be just me seeing and being surprised. First comment or question: will you marry me? No. No, thank you. I'm okay. That's kind of odd to me, right? Yeah. You don't know who I am. I mean, you see me on social media, but that's odd. Okay. Next question. So I'm taking off just the hanging part of the pot. And if you didn't know, you just kind of push it down and pull. Push it down and pull. Just like that. Okay, next question. Hey there, new subscriber all the way from South Africa. Yay, hey. Please share, where does shimmy that soil and water that hoe or drown that hoe come from? Is there a story behind it? So just undoing the root ball here just a little bit. So the way that a lot of my catchphrases have started, they just started with, it just came out of my mouth one day. Or like the drown that hoe was the first one that started really majority of the things. And I was watering my cactus and I was just trying to really explain in a simple way that a cactus needs significant amount of water when you are watering it. Doesn't mean that it needs it often, it needs water. And so I just said, drown that hoe, and I wrote it in the video, and it took off. I don't really have a understanding of why. That's just kind of how I speak anyways. And it was appreciated. So I continued with it and it's caught on, and you know, that's my explanation of how to water thoroughly, is drowning that hoe. How do you keep a string of pearls alive? Just got a variegated one and I can't kill this one. I can't kill this one. That's how I imagine it was asked. So succulents, and a string of pearl is a succulent. they give you those tips on when it's time for you to water them. So you'll notice the pearls, they get a little softer. Don't wait until they're so wrinkly, but they'll get just a little bit softer. And I do use a succulent soil mix with mine, and I like to have it under a grow light. I would love to have it under a window where the light is hitting right at the top of the pot, because that's important. You want the light to go right at the top of the pot so it can keep that fullness. And so I can't really get that from my windows, so I have it under a grow light. I use my Barina T5 grow lights for my shelf that I have upstairs, and so that's what I have mine under. So when those pearls get a little bit softer and check that soil, then I know that it's time to water thoroughly. I don't really know why I took off all the soil. I probably wouldn't have if I wasn't talking, but that's just one of the weird things that's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna do things that I typically don't do because I'm so invested in trying to answer the questions and do this at the same time. We're figuring it out, folks. We're figuring it out. So, anywho, that is my recommendation for you. Don't be so scared. They will feel your fear. This pot I feel is I need a screwdriver because I need to pop these holes out. Please hold. Your call is important to me. Actually, I found a different pot that I've been trying to use for the longest. And I think that would be really cute. This is from Urban Outfitters. They have really cute pots there. Order online, check when they have a sale. Don't get it full priced. But sometimes they have sales, so I got this one. And it just has a little rubber piece. Okay. I already have my pre-made soil mix here. I just filmed it today, and so I will have that probably in a shorts. I'm hoping sometime this week. But this is my mix that I use for a majority of my tropical houseplants. So, okay. Next question. Have you always been this goofy? Yes. Yeah, I have. I've always had, well, I used to be very, 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 very shy as a kid. To the point, oh, I need, what do I need? Flip, I need something else, hold on. I just have these little mesh pieces, like these mesh pads, so that the soil doesn't fall out of the drainage hole. Yeah, I was pretty shy as a kid, and to the point where really the only people that saw my goofiness was my family. And as I got older, I feel like I got a little bit more confident in my weird. And then as I got into the social media space, I felt like I needed to be like everybody else, right? I felt like, especially because I started on Instagram, I felt like you had to be a perfect kind of way, and it wasn't really welcomed for you to have a goofy personality. It was just all very curated. And I ended up leaving Instagram for some time and then hopping onto TikTok, and that really showed me how, no, that's not how it needs to be, and that's not how it should be. And so I forgot about being perfect. I just showed up as myself, and I've been the happiest just showing up as myself. So long story short, yes, I have been, but it's only been as an adult that I really got to show everyone my goofy side. Oh, I love that. It's gonna be so pretty. I need a chair for myself. This is good for that. And this will be good for that. Okay. And then from here, I'm gonna take just a whatever trellis. There's so many trellises out there, but I just had these in a pack. And so I'm gonna put it in there. I want a shorter one, I think. And then start to guide it. Okay. Why is my ficus elastica dying? I don't know. I don't have information about it. I don't know what your history on what the plant has been. I don't know what your care has been. So it's really hard for me to diagnose it when I don't have any background on it. I will say your ficus, or any ficus for that matter, they do want significant light. And so if you are measuring it with a light meter, I would say anything over 1,000. If you can get like over 2,000 foot candles of light, that would be amazing. But definitely a lot of light. And I would say be aware of pests. I actually have, I don't know if you can see it right now, but in this corner, I have my 2 ficus, my rubber trees, my Taniki and my green rubber tree. And the air has been so dry. I'm in Indiana, so with the heat on, spider mites are rampant on those babies. So just check for your pests, and then fertilize. They do like a good fertilizing. So best of luck to you and your baby. All right, we're gonna get to the tough question. You ready? You ready? This is a very commonly asked question. I've talked about it on Instagram more. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I share a lot of my life on stories over on Instagram. But the question is, how did your husband pass, and how long were you two married? So my husband passed in 2022. This is a heavy topic for me, so just bear with me, okay? 2022, and as you can imagine, it was the worst loss of my life. And at that point, I was on social media doing my plant things, and when he passed, I was like, how in the world am I going to show back up here again? And if anything, he was the one that encouraged me to start, because he used to tell me, he would say, I think you would do great, like you're goofy and you love plants, like you should go for it. And so he really gave me the courage to do this. And so after he passed, I remember being like, how do I do this? Like, how do I come on here and act like nothing is wrong when everything is wrong? And I just decided, I'm going to just share how I'm doing and share how I'm trying to get out of the grief, the pain. Not really the grief, because it's always there, but like the pain. It's the feeling of how do you do anything? How do you get up? And so I started doing that, and little by little, I was doing it. And it's hard. We were together for, we were together for 14 years and married for, 12 when he passed. And I don't answer the question of how he passed. I think it's irrelevant to the things. And although he supported me in what I did, he was also someone that didn't want to be on social media. Like, he would show up in my videos every so often, or he'd do something goofy with me, but he didn't want his life to be on social media. And I knew that about him. So when he passed, I was like, I still, as his wife, I still, even though he's not here, have a level of protection, right? I still have and understand his boundaries. And just because he's not here doesn't mean that I'm gonna just divulge all his stuff. And so I don't talk about that, not only because it's not what he would have wanted, but also because it's hard to talk about. You know, if somebody doesn't give you the information on how their loved one has passed, I personally would not ask. Like, you're bringing up a lot of things that can come from that and things that they have gone through. And so, yeah, it's hard. So in a long way, I'm saying that is why I don't share. I don't think it's right for me to do that, considering he can't give the okay to say go for it. So and after that question is, how are you? So so 2022, right? Worst year of my life. I lost my dog too, which was hard. I lost Maxie, which was my dog. You've seen my dog Pablo around and in my videos, but Maxie was my first dog. And I'm going to be using my clips here to support my Hoya to my trellis so that it could keep growing. But I made it my mission to just learn how to function again and to take care of myself any way that I could, from it being mentally, physically, all the ways that you could. I just am focusing on myself and on this healing journey. And a lot of my healing has come from social media and the support of you guys. So how am I doing right now? I'm doing well. I feel good. I feel like I'm getting to a point where I know what I like. I know what I can accomplish. I've gone through the worst thing of my life, and everything else is just something that I just want to continue to be grateful for and just keep on. I love what I do here. I love plants. I love teaching, and it brings me so much joy. So I always say I'm super grateful to be in this space. So I knew that question was going to come, and I was super nervous about it, and I just didn't know how to answer it. And I also get kind of sad, but it's something important that I want to talk about, and so I gotta like shake it off, breathe it out, and go back to it. Okay, so plant number one. It's a little, I think I'm gonna change this trellis into something shorter, but for now, and then I'm gonna water this after I'm done. But you're cute. You're looking pretty cute. I love it very much. Okay, move it to the side here because I will water in the sink. Plant number one, done. It only took me like 30 minutes. Okay. If you would be a plant, which one would you be? I would be a cactus. A cactus. I love cactus. You know this. If you've been here, you know they are my favorite. The beefs, I love them to pieces. Monsteras are also my favorite, but they're my favorite tropical plant. So I would say a cactus because they are cool to look at. They can thrive in different environments, different extreme environments, but you get too close and they will poke you, and that's how I feel. Okay, next thing I'm going to work on, I'm just gonna get the strawberry shake in a new pot, but I'm also just gonna support it with the cocoa core pole. I've talked about how sphagnum moss poles are not my favorite, and it's not really something that I'm wanting to take on because it's just too much maintenance for me. So I just need strictly for support purposes, I'm just gonna be using the cocoa core. I had I pulled this from another pile that I had, so it's fine. It's fine, we'll be fine. The plants will be fine. So this is my strawberry shake. For it to grow nice and large, we do need some kind of support on it. So the soil mix that I have here is indoor potting mix, or indoor potting soil. I have orchid bark, perlite, and then I added cocoa chips to it. Let's squeeze it and squeeze it. Okay, where do you see yourself in 3 years? I have no idea. I had a plan on how my life was gonna go, and then my life went, no, you don't. That's gone. You gotta figure something else out. And so right now I'm in a point in my life where I'm just kind of enjoying the time and where I'm at right now this minute. I obviously have goals. I obviously have goals, and I have things that I want to continue to pursue and accomplish, but I'm not stressed about them. It's not something that's set in stone. So I just say, where do I see myself? I see myself happy with myself and with what I'm doing. That's all. Can I kill my plant with my eyes? Well, what I mean is looking at it too often can affect my plant to the point of dying. No. Do you imagine all my plants would have been dying and would have died if that was the case? No. I think if you're messing with them too much and watering them too much, obviously, but looking at them, no. Keep on staring. Why do all my cactuses die whenever I change to try to make myself a better plant parent? I've only been able to keep one alive for a couple years. How can I take good care of a mini cactus so it grows big and healthy? So the biggest thing about your cactus in general is, one, think about how it lives in its natural environment. And so when you see a cactus, they are right? I'm just thinking Arizona, right there, like a sand. It's very gritty. There is not a lot of moisture in their setup, like a lot of soil even. And so I encourage that when you're dealing with your cactus indoors, I'll use a cactus soil, and then I'll incorporate gravel. If I have sand, I'll put that in there as well. And then also thinking about how they live in their environment, you want some sun, you want light. And that's the biggest problem that we have, especially if you live in a place that has all 4 seasons, your lack of light, right? So during the spring and the summer, I slowly start to transition them outside. They live outside in my beef bar. Where I get the most amount of sun is over in that section of my home. So I put them outside there. And then I bring them back in during the very cold temperatures during the fall and the fall and the winter. And then I do it all over again. So they want to be completely dry, but then fully saturated when you do dry them. So depending on the size and what kind of cactus, it's going to differ, but yeah. Sun, well-draining cactus soil, and knowing when to water. Very important. Hola, Cristal. Where are you from? Hello. Hey. Hey, hey, hey. What pot do I want to put this in? Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I don't always need them to be in this, like, oh my gosh, amazing setup. It's just, that'd be fine. I don't know why. These were on clearance at the hardware store. And so I got a couple, but they have like this thing. So I'm taking that out and then punching the holes. So where am I from? I am born and raised Hold on one second. Why aren't you punching? So I am originally born and raised in sunny California, much like Arizona. And I was moved here by my parents at the age of 14, almost 15. And I've been here ever since. And then as far as like where my parents are from, my dad is Guatemalan and my mom is Argentinian. So they made me. And that's what where I'm from and a little bit of my background. Affordable grow light setup for a Michigan girl with succulents and cacti. My new African milk tree be struggling. Same. I'll probably put that in the description, but I made a list of grow lights. I've tried, I feel like every single grow light. If there's one out there, I'm gonna try it. I wanna know what to recommend to you guys, and I also wanna know price-wise if someone's looking for something that's a little bit higher on the scale or something lower, I know what to recommend. And then also depending on like their setup, do they want a pendant light? Do they want one that's standing up? Do they want just a bulb? What is it that you want? So I have a list of grow lights from Amazon, and I'll put that in the description. The ones that I have with my cactus when they're inside are the mother grow lights. I worked with them, so I got a few of those. How do you not kill a Monstera esqueleto? I have one and it's doing great. Just want to make sure I'm doing everything right. I actually have one right here. Let me show it to you. I'm going to be putting a support on it in this video. So here she is. And I pretty much treat her like I do my other Monsteras. This one I do have sitting fairly close to my humidifier just to give it a little extra humidity. I have it in that well draining soil mix, and I do have it in front of a grow light, or just ensuring that it's getting plenty of light. I think my grow light has about, it's close enough to where it's getting a little over 1,000 foot candles if you're using your light meter, and give it a support. They like to go up and climb, so the more you support it, the bigger your leaves are going to be. So I'm putting this here just kind of at the front here so I can get my pole, then there, and then I can get it to climb on it. I have to remember to slow down, right? This is YouTube. We don't have to go fast here. We should be relaxing. I'm gonna take my slippers off because we're cozy. We're chilling, we're vibing. It is okay. My lemon limeranta leaves are dying off. I've had it for 6 months. It's putting out new leaves, but they're nowhere near as big as the ones that's dying off. Help, what am I doing wrong? Again, I don't really know what you got going on with your setup, but when I switched over my lemon limeranta to a self-watering pot, she started booming with just growth, and she was pretty consistent with her growth. I don't know if I like this. This pot isn't really deep enough. Let me try it and see once I fill it. So yeah, I use a self-watering pot, and she's my bathroom plant, so she does get a little bit higher humidity. Not much, but just a little bit higher. And the self-watering pot, I think, has just helped it to stay evenly damp. When I didn't have one in it, I would forget to water, and then I would fully saturate, and then I'd forget again, and then it was just like that inconsistency. It didn't like that very much. So they're thinner leaved plants, and so I don't feel like they need as much light compared to, say, like the Monstera esqueleto or Monsteras in general. So yeah, that's just kind of some of the tips that I would give for your lemon lime maranta. And then if all else fails, propagate it and then put it along another plant. That's what I did. And I'm much happier with it now. Do you sometimes get overwhelmed trying to think of new video ideas? I found myself putting a lot of pressure on what I was creating and always feeling like it needed to be right. And so when I let that go is when I found I was back in it and back motivated to create again. So now that I'm at a different stage of my video making, I feel like it just comes naturally, or in the comments someone will ask a question and that will give me the idea to create that video. Or I don't know, I'm driving or in the shower and I come up with an idea of a funny video to create. So not so much. Long form YouTube, yes, I do struggle with it. I feel like I've been struggling with consistency just because it takes a long time just to like set up in general, but the editing and, you know, I've talked about that before. So, and I feel sometimes I'm like, do people really want to like see this? I don't know. So I don't, but I am pretty consistent on shorts and things. So, okay. I think this pole will be okay. I just need to put a little bit more soil. How do you best handle your spiky plants? With a lot of fear. As much as I love cactus, they are painful. So I will, like when I repot, I have now my cactus gloves. Best thing I've ever purchased for myself and my plants, cactus gloves. But even with cactus gloves, you still can't just go and handle this very, very spiky guy. So I do use a sheet or a towel or something to wrap it around, or a box, a cardboard box. Sometimes I'll do that too, where I wrap it around the actual cactus, take it out if I need to remove some of the soil, and then plop it back in, and then I find a space for it and leave it be until I have to move it again. So they live in the beef bar or on the beef bar outside. They're gonna stay there once it gets nice, and then I will bring them back in during the cold season and not really mess with them. Is YouTube your full-time job? If not, what do you do for work? So social media now, thank you for your question. So social media now is my full-time job. Prior to this, in 2022, when my life changed, I was working as a supervisor for a residential facility for teens here in my town, and I was doing social media. I started in 2020, actually posting plant things on social media. And I was doing that as if it was my full-time job, along with my actual full-time job that was paying me. I wasn't getting paid for social media by any means. I didn't make my first penny from social media until 2022. And I think my first ad, I made like, how much did I make? I think it was like $500 or something. Or it was like 6 videos for like $1,000. And so, yeah, in 2022, because my job was in it was in mental health. And I remember I had been away from my job for about a month or so because, you know, my honey had passed. And I went back and I was thinking to myself, I'm struggling. I don't know how I'm going to do this and help somebody else right now when I don't feel good. Like I can't do this right now. And so after sitting with that, I realized I need to take time to heal myself before I can help to heal others. And so I made the hard decision to leave my job. And along the way, I focused on just social media primarily, and now this is my full-time job, and I'm extremely grateful, not only because I've gotten the opportunity to heal here at home, but at that time I was working 10-plus-hour shifts, and now that it was just me in this house, I didn't want to leave my dog alone. I didn't want to leave Pablo, and so now this has given me the opportunity to be able to be home with him as well, and have my business and just do things here. So yes, I do this full time, along with the other social media platforms. I do a little bit of affiliate marketing with, like, the links and things that you may see, and but I also have my honey and I had worked many years to grow to own and manage rental properties, so I do that as well. So yeah. Okay, so we got 2 plants. We're getting it. Wow. I don't know. Let me step away from the soil for a bit and try and just support this Monstera Esqueleto. Oh, the baby here. Okay. I'm just gonna be supporting this baby. I saw a speck and I'm like, what is it? It's just a speck of dust. You gotta be concerned with pests always. And get it in the pot. Shove it in the soil. Just like so. Easy peasy. Just Velcro tape to get it on. Let's get it on. See, I'm just using this garden ladder, or this stake. Got it from a garden center. And putting it behind the plant and just pushing her in. That's it. Hi, Pete. Okay, next question while I'm doing this. Do you miss living in the South Bay? Would you consider moving to be closer to your family? I have. You good? Okay. I have my extended family all living back in California, but I have my immediate family here in Indiana, and I miss my extended family, absolutely. I don't foresee me going back to California. Again, I'm never gonna say never. And as much as I love the beach and the ocean and everything, it's expensive over there, and it's just a different way of life. And so I love to visit, but I don't foresee me moving back anytime. Who knows? Again, I don't know where life is gonna take me. But I do know I don't want to live in Indiana for the rest of my life. I just can't stand the cold. The cold drives me mad. Is it possible to get rid of mealybugs, or should I just give up? I've tried for ages with alcohol, but I can't get rid of them. Oh, same. I have my Hoya that's been struggling with mealybugs for a long time, and it's just being consistent and persistent. I have to hose it down every so often. I do use beneficial insects also, but because I used, what did I use on it? I think I did systemic granules at some point on it because I was just so sick and tired of it. And so I don't use the beneficial insects on it, but if I could redo it, I would do that again. I would have done that. So it's just being persistent and being more aware of, like, at least once a week going back with your rubbing alcohol with your brush and getting them. Or, it's gotten to a point sometimes where I'll do a full-on hose down every time, and I'm able to knock quite a few of the mealybugs out. So just be persistent with it, and hopefully you can. I definitely would recommend repotting. Sometimes the soil will get so infested in the roots, you'll have mealy roots, root mealies, and so you just really never know what's going down below. So if you can, give it a check to see if they're there. This one right here has a stem. There's the new growth coming out, but I've tied it from the stem on that side and then on this side. And so as it grows, then I'll continue to guide it in and up. So, yay! I like that. That was easy. So you didn't have to do much. I'm gonna take a little break. I need to get some water. But the next question is, how is your Venus flytrap doing? What's the update on it? And so I actually put it in the fridge. I shared a video on shorts on how I encourage my Venus flytrap to go into winter dormancy, because it is very, very important when you have a Venus flytrap that it goes into dormancy. And there are certain ways that you do it according to like the environment that you live in. And so because I live in the Midwest and it gets way too cold for it to be doing its winter dormancy outside, I do the fridge method. So I have it wrapped and the baby is in this bag, and every other week I go and I remove the dying traps or any like black stems from it, and come middle of February I will be transitioning it out from the fridge to back into its pot and start the cycle all over again so it could grow to its fullest potential. So baby is doing well. I am looking forward to getting her out. I am not looking forward to having to feed it again, because if you've seen any of my Venus flytrap feeding videos, you know it is not my favorite thing to do. It gives me the heebie-jeebies, but I love it so much. I love that baby so much that I will continue to do it for the love of carnivorous plants. I'm gonna get a little piece of cheese. I don't even like cheese, but my mom, she came over and she had string cheese. It's like, can I get one of those? So I'm gonna do a little string cheese. Next up on my list here is my Anthurium clarinarium. My Anthurium clarinarium. And her pot is looking mighty tight. Now whenever I water, it doesn't usually stay watered very long. I love Anthurium roots. I think they're so cool. They're so noodly. They're so fun. I don't want to really disturb it much. And I feel like I don't even have to disturb it much. But I'm just gonna remove a little bit here. I don't want to bug it too much, but I just want a bigger pot for it. So that's perfect. And I'm going to be incorporating more cocoa chips into this mix. I want it super chunky and cocoa-y. So I have my pot of cocoa chips. Just gonna mix it in a little bit there. If I'm doing so this is my own mix that I create, but if I'm using a pre-made bag, because sometimes I either run out or I just need something really quick, I do buy pre-made bags. They're from Soul Soils. Next question. Have you ever thought about hosting some kind of event? I live close by and would love to meet you. You seem fun. Thank you. So I love to meet you in person. Like if and when you see me, please say hi. I have met many of you out, either it being a plant event or just me at Lowe's, just walking in, or just me being out in the world, and you come up and say hi. It really makes my day. Now, I've been asked about doing events or a meet and greet. That feels very odd to me. Like for me to be like, I think you should come and meet me. That feels strange, you know? I think if it were an opportunity came up where I was hosting an event, or if I was at an event and you just happened to be there and we met, I think that would be great. Or if I was doing something, we were doing an activity together, that makes me feel more at peace about meeting, like doing a setup meeting. But to plan just a meet me greet, that feels not good. That feels kind of icky, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. So, am I opposed to doing something? No, I just think it has to be planned out accordingly. I'm thinking of doing a virtual class. It would be my first virtual class. I do plant consultations. So another question was, do you help people with your plants? I do. I do plant consultations all the time. I have them on my website. You sign up for a time and a date, and I will be there, and we talk about the plants that you have and that you're struggling with. But I was thinking about doing my first actual virtual plants or class where we do something together, and like build either kokodama or terrarium, just to ease into the doing it and figuring out logistically how that would work. But yeah, I don't know. Do you feel like that would be weird?
I kind of feel like that would be weird.
Maybe that's just me, because naturally I can be introverted. I'm getting much better. I feel like I'm an ambivert where I can be both now, but it's just some of those things sometimes come about and I'm like, I feel like I'm full of myself.
Come meet me.
Because I'm special. Oh, I don't know. My brain, I have a lot of things in my brain. How do I encourage my monstera? Oh, look at her. Look at her. She's great. How do I encourage my monstera to get fenestrations is the next question. So in nature, monsteras are known to climb. They will climb up a tree. They're absolutely stunning when they climb up a tree, or they'll even climb like up a building if you let it. And the higher they climb and the more secure that they are to something, the bigger the fenestrated leaves are. And so same deal in your home. If you want to encourage it to get fenestrations, you want to use some kind of support to guide it up. I use wood planks for mine. I have a trellis. You just saw me do that little garden trellis that I use for the esqueleto. But also, it depends on the age of your monstera. So if it's still young, you're not gonna get those fenestrated leaves yet. Shimmy! So, if you have one that's older, then also you want to give it plenty of light. You want to encourage light on that plant. So I have my biggest monsteras. I have them right in front of the south-facing window. They are the ones that get the afternoon. They get like midday to late afternoon light, and well, during the spring and the summer. And they're both also supported by something. So light, support, and age of the monstera is going to make the difference in your fenestrations. Do you think you'll ever start growing vegetables, edible plants? Yes. I'm not opposed to growing. I'm not opposed. This is my philodendron ring of fire. It's been growing in perlite and propagating, and we're finally getting a good amount of roots here. So I'm going to transition it to a soil mix. Yeah. I'm not opposed to growing veggies at all. My first time trying to grow anything veggie-wise was in 2020, and I grew tomatoes, I grew jalapenos, I grew the things to make my salsas here at home, and I had just raised garden beds. And then I tried again in 2022, and then that quickly was neglected and everything died. I was going to try in 2023, but I was still trying to figure out how to manage everything on my own. And so I just didn't have the time, and so I didn't. But I'm thinking about starting up again, but with something small. I just have a lot on my plate, and an outdoor garden is a lot. And so I think I just want to do my small garden bed with just the things again for my salsas, because that's what I love to make. And so I'll just have like cilantro, I'll have tomatoes. Maybe I can do cucumbers too, because I love cucumbers. Jalapenos, tomatoes, cilantro, maybe some other herbs, but just a small something. I'm struggling with aloe plants. It's like the soil holds too much water, but when I added bark and perlite, they started to die from lack of water. I have jade snake plants, succulents, and aloe. Just a succulent or a cactus soil, whichever that you can get your hands on, is what I would recommend. And then I incorporate gravel into mine. I have 2 aloes. I have large aloes, and my first rescue was actually, like my first official rescue on here was my aloe, and she is still good. I find that most times people kill them because they pay too much attention to them, and they overwater them, and they hold water in their leaves. And so they're one that they want to completely dry out, and even then some. I'll wait till it's dry and then a couple more weeks, and then I water it. And then light. They do need plenty of light, so I do keep it outside. I keep it in shade outside, because shade outside is stronger than your sunny window inside. So you don't want to have it under direct sunlight outside, because it's going to burn your aloe leaves. They're going to turn gray. Any swift transitions too will turn your aloe leaves gray. They can revert back to green. It's happened before. It reverts back. But I would say shade outside is great. And yeah, don't water them as much. You'll know that it's time to water because they get super, like the leaves, they start to get very, very soft. So then I know it's time for me to saturate it. So I'm gonna squeeze it and pull it. Oh, you're looking nice, roots. I grew all those roots in perlite. So the nice thing about perlite is that once you pull it out, you just plop it right into your mix of choice. You don't have to mess with you don't have to mess with the roots very much. Someone may have already asked, but what was your first plant, and is it still alive today? If not, don't worry, mine isn't either. Mine was a cactus that got root rot a decade ago. So I started officially, I would say I officially started being like, yep, this is what I'm doing. I'm getting into plants. We're doing it. In 2018, and it was a cactus, Walter. And I still have Walter. He is upstairs with my other cactus. But Walter was my first. I had plants before then, but I didn't take it seriously. It was just like, oh, I had a pothos here, or I had a Dracaena here, or just, you know, I didn't consider myself a plant person until 2018. So that was my first official plant that really catapulted everything that I do now. And I started with cactus and succulents. And I even would do like the subscription boxes where you would get the plant sent to you every month, and it was like a different succulent, or yeah, it was succulents at the time. So it was a different succulent. And I had like a little succulent garden. But Walter was my first, and then I had my bear paw succulent that I still have. He's actually over there. So yeah, the beefs. Of course it had to be a beef that started all the madness. I love a clear pot. I don't have enough of the medium-sized pots. I need to order more. So I have the small ones, and these actually come with the little domes. So if I wanted higher humidity, the domes that go on top, but I'm not using that. And then I have the big clear pots I use these a lot for my mama. I use these a lot for my monsteras, really any plant, but these are nice and have good drainage holes too. And a shimmy. And I will water her after. How do you get so energized when you see plants? I would love to be too. You just have to love them. You just have to love plants. I get so excited to see them. I get so excited to do this. Usually, what is that?
What is that? What are those things?
That look like a colored beetle in here. What was that? Well, it's gone now. Really just finding the joy in plants. If I wasn't recording, I would just have music playing and have my hands deep in the soil and just lose. It's like that moment of time where I just lose my thoughts about everything else and I'm focused on what I'm doing right in front of me. It's my moment of calm and peace. So I don't know, I love it. So this Epipremnum marble I am going to be putting in a pot, and I think I'm gonna attach it to the tree fern. So I'm removing the soil from it. It's quite a small root ball, so it's gonna need not huge of a pot, but that tree fern needs a good amount of space too. So I think I'm actually gonna do it in one of these pots, or I don't think it's gonna fit in there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it in one of these. Luckily I have a bunch of these. I got these for $1. They were on clearance at the store, so I'm gonna do that. It is a flippin' disaster over here. Luckily I put down a sheet, and then I never do my repottings without my boot trays. These are my favorite. It's easy to clean up. You can get them in any hardware store. You can wipe down, hose them down, whatever it is. It has made my life so much easier. And the tree fern is pretty dusty. I had a good experience with this guy with my Monstera Adansonii variegated, and so I'm gonna do it again. How do you, okay, next question. So this here, fill it. Next question, how do you maintain a watering routine without checking all your plants daily? So over time you definitely get to understand your plants better, and you start to develop your own routine with them, and you'll get to a point where you can just look at them and know what they need, or you know that they're doing something different than what they're used to doing, so you know what to look for. And so that's how I feel with my plants. I say 200 and over 250 houseplants because I don't count them anymore, because then I know, girl, you got a lot. You gotta calm down. So I just choose to, I'm not looking, I don't know, I don't count. But I just go around every day for 10 to 15 minutes. And again, this is my job. So this is like a priority for me to make sure that they're okay. And so I take 10 to 15 minutes every day, just walk around and then get to any that need to get watered or if I know that they need repotted, I'll take a mental note and then get to it soon. And so it really doesn't take too much. But if you incorporate that into your own schedule where you're doing just a little bit every day versus waiting one time every week to, like if you're on a schedule, I wouldn't recommend you being on a schedule anyway with your watering. But if you just waited, I feel like you would be even more stressed out about it because you're going to have a lot of plants and a lot of things to care for at the same time. So this way it doesn't feel too bad. I actually am going to turn this around like so, so I can encourage it to grow up it like that. I just got a carnivorous plant and they came with sphagnum, moss, and plastic nursery type pots. I'm very new to this, but I know they're boggy plants. So is there a difference between a pot without a hole, or with a hole sitting in a dish with water, versus a pot without holes? So depending on what carnivorous plant you have, if you have something like a Venus flytrap, or a pinguicula, or a drosera, they're going to want to stay boggy and damp. So if you have a nursery pot that has drainage holes, because most times they do, then put a tray underneath it, and then whichever carnivorous plant you have, you could only use either distilled water, reverse osmosis, or rainwater, or rainwater. The water, any additional minerals or salts in your water, like your tap water, they will kill your carnivorous plants. So keep a tray of water underneath at all times so that they could stay damp, right? They're known for being in boggy conditions in their environment. So do that. If you don't have a drainage hole, then just don't let them completely dry out. I did a bog bowl, so I put multiple carnivorous plants together. So I did a drosera, I did my pings in there, and I just make sure that I can see, it's like in a very pretty crystal bowl. So I just make sure that it's never completely dry out, and I keep it damp. I actually, not even damp, I keep it pretty wet and soggy in there, and they need to be that way. I just transferred my orchid to water hydroponic container and was wondering if you had any tips for keeping the roots from rotting. So with hydroponics, so plants in water, and we're talking about an orchid, you can keep an orchid in just water, but I would not fill the container up all the way. I would just fill it about a third of the way, just enough to where the roots, the end of the roots can just be in the water. And then when the water dries out of your container, then refill. Don't feel like you always have to have water in that container. You are going to lose some of those roots, those initial roots. That just happens with any plant that you transition from its medium to water. And so if you're consistent at it, you should be getting some new roots. But yeah, don't have the container filled is my recommendation. By the way, you need more normal length videos. Show us the process of mixing plant mixes, how often you water, prune your plants. You should do a mini series of propagating plants. Show us the progression of roots. I would love to. I mentioned this earlier. I'm still trying to figure this whole long form YouTube thing out. It's been a longer process than I hoped. I feel like I can be a perfectionist, and I wanted to make sure the audio was good, and so I got the audio together, I think. The lighting, and then sometimes the lighting is off because I'm still trying to figure out my camera settings, and I'm learning all these things and trying to balance everything, and so editing was a friggin' pain in my tuchus. But I definitely do want to, and it's intimidating. I'm used to a certain type of way of doing things, shorts and reels, and everything is so fast and it's short, right? You can get to the gist of it, whereas YouTube is so long and it's a longer process to do every part of YouTube. So I'm really trying. I really hope to do more. I do enjoy it, and it's something I want to do. It's a goal of mine for the year for sure. But I've had to get out of my own head also with it. I want to buy the stem, get it tied back with my Velcro strap here, and as it grows, then I will continue to strap it. And when I water these, or when I water this one too, I'm gonna water the whole thing, the pole and the soil. Hey, you little muff! Look at your new growth! Yay! Wow, okay. We're actually doing more than I expected that I would be. I thought I was just gonna be like, okay, well, I can't do this. See you on the next one. I think this is my last one. This is my philodendron painted lady, and I don't want to remove the stake off of it first because of fear that it might snap. So I'm gonna lay it flat. Make sure that I don't squash the leaves there, and then get it out. And in the meantime, answer another question. So, do all the extra lights affect your electricity bill in any noticeable way? And do you have any tips on plant care when not feeling well? I love taking care of plants. It's almost meditative, but have some difficulties moving about sometimes. Love you and your content. Keep creating. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So electricity bill. So because I have so many grow lights, it eliminates me actually having to use the big lights around the house. And so I actually feel like I've saved money, and they're LED full spectrum. And so they actually have helped bring my bill down. And because I don't use the big lights, I'm not using so many of the house lights. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Oh, I struggle with this. I lost a lot of my collection in 2022. I had some pretty large plants. I had some nice plants. And I lost a lot of them because at that point I couldn't take care of myself very well, let alone my plants. And the only thing that I had enough energy to do was just to get up. Sometimes I was able to get a shower in, or I had things that I had to take care of that were his things. And so that was all that I had the energy to do. And so I lost a lot of my plants because they were neglected. Once I started to get a bit more energy, then really I got to a place where I understood that I should not have this many plants right now because I just can't. I can't take care of them. So I downsized my collection significantly, and then it made it more manageable. And when I say I downsized, I didn't downsize by giving them away. They died. So when they died, it made it easier for me to care for the plants that I had. Once I started to feel that I had some more energy, that I was able to get up a little bit better throughout the day, I started to find plants again and get into a routine with them. And so that's another reason why I haven't done a plant tour, because I just didn't have good plants. That made sense. That sounds bad, but I didn't have plants that were doing well. And now through this time, I have grown my collection. I now have plants that are doing well from then, like that survived that. And so I like back in a routine here. So I guess my recommendation would be just do what you can. If that means that you just get up and you just water one of your plants, that should be a good enough job. You know, that's something to celebrate. But everybody's gonna have their different journey. If you're going through your own grief, or you're struggling with your health, or whatever it is as a whole, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you possibly can do, just do that and be proud of it. And if your plants die, although it hurts, right? We don't want our plants to go. You have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anyone else or anything else. So just do what you can. I was just breaking apart the root ball just a little, just because the soil is actually quite old. And I would really want to put it in the clear pot, but I think that's gonna be too big for this root ball. You never know what size pot to use until you get into the root ball. Then you know, okay, I can go 1 to 2 sizes bigger than this. So yeah, that's another recommendation, is when you're repotting a plant, check your root ball first and then grab your pot. There's this one that is a little bigger than like 2 inches of the diameter of the root ball, but I also needed some space to be able to put the pole in, so I'm just doing a cocoa core pole. This is strictly for support. Let me put this over there. Said hi, hey from a fellow Hoosier. Hello, my Indiana friend. My friend has a plant that she inherited from her grandmother that looked like it had seen its last days, only crunchy leaves left. In a ditch effort, she took what was left out of the soil, cleaned the roots, and wrapped them in paper towel moistened with kelp water. Within a week, the roots had regenerated into thick, beautiful white stubs. She didn't really expect for her efforts to work and isn't sure what to do now. Any advice? Well, I'm happy to hear that you've got some growth going on there. And I'm assuming that you want to grow some more roots on it. So at that point, you just have to decide how is it that you want to keep on growing the roots. It doesn't say what kind of plant it is. So I would say choose your propagation method of choice. So if it's water, if it's perlite, there's so many ways to grow your roots, but whatever that method is, then transfer it over to that. I wish I knew what kind of plant, because that can help me determine like what plant maybe will do a little bit better in the propagation method of your choice. So yeah, I don't have that info, so I would say do a little bit of research on what that plant is. If you don't know what the plant is too, there is something like Google Lens that you can take the picture of the plant and then it'll tell you what plant it is. Sometimes it guides you to a direction and then you have to do a little bit more homework to figure out exactly what it is, but it can be helpful. Or if you take a picture on your phone, if you have an iPhone, there's a little button at the bottom that has like a little leaf, and that'll help to diagnose or to tell you what the plant is, to label, to ID the plant. So yeah, you just got to figure out what kind of plant and how you want to continue to grow your roots. So I've got my layer here. Let me get the baby up here and in. And then what I'm gonna do is pot it up. Oh, let me put this on here. I'm gonna position it where I want. So I think I'm actually gonna just continue to have it the way that it's already set up. Like this. I'm trying to do this carefully. I'm in the zone here. I've grown this painted lady for, I think it's almost been like 2 years now. It was a wee lad He is not a wee lad anymore. And then before I take the actual stake off, I'm going to start to support it from the base, and then I remove the original stake so I don't snap it, because that would not be good. Not you, wee lad. Yay! Yay! You're sweet! You're sweet! You're a sweet lad! Velcro. I love the Velcro because you can tie easily here and quickly. While we continue to do that, let me answer another question. When you're propagating a plant and the roots begin to grow, when should you move them out of water and into soil? Thank you for your question. Oh no! I cracked the wee lad! One is broken. Oh no. I'm sorry. Oh man. So I would say wait until you at least have your secondary roots. So you'll have that initial set of roots, and then you have your little baby roots that come out of the original long root. I would say at least wait until that, or until you get at least a few inches of roots. I will wait until longer. It's already been used to being in that medium, right? It's already been used to being in water. So I want to have a good amount of roots. I want to have a robust root system before I transition it over, just because it's going to have greater chances of succeeding once the transition happens. I know we're always so excited and eager to switch it over, but I would rather wait and it grow than go too soon and then now I got nothing. So yeah, I would wait. Fertilizing, it's something that I wanted to touch on because sometimes I'll see that someone will add fertilizer to the water when they have no roots in their propagation. The point of your roots is to pull whatever's in the water, right, through its roots to get up to the stem and to the actual plant. Now, if you have no roots, you got nothing to pull from, right? So wait to fertilize that cutting until you have a root system. Same, you could also do a rooting hormone. That was another question that I was asked, like, do I use rooting hormones or do I use anything? I don't. I use as many, I try to stay away from as many products as possible and just kind of let the plant do its thing naturally. And so rooting hormone, it's, I've used it before in the past. It's been fine. Is it something that like just totally blew my mind? No, but you could absolutely use it. I personally don't. I just let them do their thing. There's already so many things on the market. There's already so many products to use for your plants that my take on plants is I'm trying to make it as simple as possible for you. And two, I'm trying to make it as inexpensive as possible as well. And so the least amount of things that you have in your plant setups and cabinets and like your plant care regimen, the better. And so that's why I said I personally do not, but you absolutely can. I'm never going to tell you not to do something with your plants. That's part of the journey. That's part of the experience, is experimenting, trying new things, and seeing what works for you. And something that works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. So I'm not here to judge you either way. Do your thing. I'm just happy that you're growing plants and that you're trying. I'm not here to judge you. Now I can take up the pole. How are you so iconic? Because my mom and dad made me so. Thank you so much. She's an icon and she is the moment. That's all I just thought of. How were you able to bring back cacti on a plane? I didn't even get to bring back shells. I would have brought back the entire floor if I could have. I definitely think it depends on the airline too. I was like, you know who I am. Okay. If you think I'm serious, then you haven't watched any of this video and you need to go back because I am not that kind of person. But it might have been the airline. So I always say, like, check with your local TSA, check the website to make sure. Also, depending on the state that you're going to. I know Hawaii is super, like, oh, do not take plants from there and try and bring them back. There's a lot of restrictions on that. International flights, there's a lot of restrictions on that. A lot of times you're gonna need some kind of like license for that. So I think it just depends on the airline. But I've traveled in Florida and brought back plants from Florida back here and a couple other states, but California is when I brought back all the cactus and I wrapped the heck out of them. I had newspaper, I had cardboard. I think I grabbed towels. Like I didn't steal, but my aunt, she gave me some of her towels. And so I just wrapped them and I had them in a bag and in my backpack and in my bag that I was carrying too. So what is the hardest plant to care for? Can't answer that. Everybody has a different experience. But I will say, for me, the one that has given me the most issues and that has really made me want to quit plants was a fiddle leaf fig. It ruined my whole life. It made me feel like such a bad plant parent. It pieced out so fast. It said, I don't want to be here and I don't care what you do to me. I'm gone. And it was a big plant, so it was very obvious when something was going wrong with it. So personally, I think a fiddle leaf fig, and I also don't think I have enough light to be able to support all that it needs. So she can peace out, go. Don't be here in this house, at least not for now. What fertilizer do you recommend for hydroponic plants? I have my monster and bamboo in water and I want to give them food. I use Dynagrow Foliage Pro. I've been using that for years. I was using different things, but I wanted to have am I recording? Yeah. I wanted to have a fertilizer that I could use for my plants in soil and for my plants in water. And so I ended up gravitating towards Dynagrow Foliage Pro. It left the least amount of residue in the container that I was using. It also doesn't have as much color to it, so it didn't look totally weird in the clear container with water that it was in. I recommend it. For my orchids, I use a Better Grow orchid fertilizer, and then my succulents and cactus. What is the brand of that? I forgot. I'll put it right here. I use that for all my succulents and my cactus. Here we are. I need a little bit more Velcro pieces to this so it could be a little sturdier. Yay! Seed! Yay! I think that's all the plants that I needed to actually do something with, so I'm just gonna bring you down and we'll finish up a few more questions here, just chilling, and then wrap it up. We'll do a speed round of questions here. Are your plants another form of therapy for you? I got into plants a few years ago after a particularly rough patch with my mental health, and now I can't imagine my life without all my green friends. Absolutely. I don't like to say plants are therapy, but plants for me is a coping skill that I use often, and they have provided me with patience. They bring me joy. They encourage me when I'm struggling to get out of bed, along with Pablo. It's him and I in the house with all these plants, and so they encourage me to get up and do something with them every day. And so I would say yes, for sure. They have been a big part in my healing. How do you keep Pablo from eating all the plants, especially the toxic ones? So I answered this question in stories, and so I got Pablo when he was 8 weeks old, and I had plants here in the home. So when he first got here, he was never in the house alone without me. I went everywhere with him, he went everywhere with me. And I had majority of the plants were in the plant room, so I would introduce him into the plant room and I would allow him to sniff, but if he got way too close or if he tried to paw into the soil or anything, I would scoot him back, or I would do like a sound and just alert his attention over to me, and that way he would kind of break him out of that. I did that consistently for about 2 weeks, and then after that, plants just became a normal piece of whatever is in this house. So I've never had an issue with him digging into my plants or biting a leaf or anything like that. I know the internet gets very mad at me many times when they see that I have a plant that is considered toxic and then they see Pablo in the background, but I know my dog and he doesn't mess with them. He does a sniff test, he'll give a little sniff and he keeps it moving. As I'm doing all the things here, he's over there sleeping and napping on the couch while I'm doing my thing. As long as he is in my sight, he knows I'm good, we're good. Like he'll stay in his spot, and that's that. So I always say I trained him to leave them alone, and now it's easy. And Pablo is 3, he will be 3 on Valentine's Day. Gnats, top tips to keep them away and get rid of them. With the amount of plants that I have, I don't struggle with fungus gnats. I tend to be in underwater, which means I let most of them dry out almost completely. There's some plants like a peace lily, the oxalis plants, let me think. Like the lemon lime maranta, alocasias. They're ones that I find that do not want to dry out completely. And so I'll water those accordingly. But all the rest of my plants, I do. And so fungus gnats, they want to be in a space where you've got damp soil. They grow from that damp soil. So if you find that you have a lot of fungus gnats, just know that it's probably your watering. You gotta change something up with your watering there. If you have a very thick soil, and so that's why I'm very, very passionate about chunky soil mix, having some kind of additional amendments in your soil. So if that means adding perlite, orchid bark, cocoa chips, some people will do worm casting. There's all kinds of things, but I encourage to have amendments in your soil to allow your roots not only to breathe and have those air pockets to breathe, but to not be so gross and soppy at the bottom where your fungus gnats can develop. If you have fungus gnats and you have adult ones, then your sticky traps are great. I have like the Zevo plugin. I've worked with them before, but I also enjoy their product. I use it. It's a blue light system deal, and then it has this is gonna be nasty, I'm sorry, but then it catches your flies and your fungus gnats on your traps like this, but they also just have the little fungus gnat traps that you may see online. They're yellow and different colors. You can do that. There's BTI drops that you can use. The problem with any kind of BTI anything is that you have to continue to use it every time you water. If not, then it comes back. And so again, me being the person that I am, I don't want you to always feel like you have to do these things every single time. And that would be exhausting for me to be mixing up this water concoction every time to water my plants. So I stay away from BTI drops. I would probably encourage either like beneficial nematodes. Those are great. I use those often. They're beneficial insects. You could do cold pressed neem oil, but the biggest recommendation is let your soil dry out so that you can eliminate that problem. It is the life cycle of a fungus gnat is a long one, so you're looking at a couple months of dealing with it before it goes away. So sorry. I know they're annoying. What's been the most helpful thing to do or remember with your grief journey? What advice do you have for people who are going through loss? How do you stay your seemingly happy and positive self? We lost my fiance's mom almost 2 years ago, and I'm still struggling so much. Would love to hear anything you have to say on the subject. So sorry for your loss. And thank you so much for your comment and for being here. The most helpful thing for me was in the beginning stages, was to find one small thing that I could focus my attention on. At the time, it was cookies.
I liked a lot of cookies.
And so when I had to tackle a hard thing that I had to do that day, whether it be that I had to get paperwork together or something for what I had going on, I would then praise myself by a cookie. And I ate too many cookies, and so I'm still working on those cookies. But that made me happy that day. At that point in time, there was a new season of Stranger Things, and I looked forward to watching one episode of Stranger Things that day. That made me happy. That gave me something to look forward to. So always having something to look forward to. As time passed and I was able to get up out of bed a little bit better, I started to incorporate new goals. Hey, today I want to tackle this. Hey, today I want to teach myself how to do this. I want to edit this kind of way, and I want to teach myself how to do it. So I always had something that I was doing. I spent a lot of time with my family. I looked forward to family get-togethers. I just wanted to be surrounded around people that knew what I was going through, as far as like that knew what happened to me in my family. And so I just wanted to be around them. So I also found that I asked for help. I've never been someone that found asking for help to be easy. And so I knew that I needed help. So I looked for help in a grief therapist, and I'm still doing therapy with my grief therapist. I also I asked for help from, old coworkers that I had, or my family in general. They helped me so much. So my camera overheated, sorry. I like to have things that excite me. I like to push myself to do something out of my comfort zone. That has really helped me to grow and be excited for life. So it's hard. It's hard. It is very hard. I can't sugarcoat it. Like, it sucks. It's awful, but that's what's helped me to keep going. How did you decide to live in windy Midwest country and not somewhere your beefs are more likely to turn up? I know, right? It was not my fault. It was my parents. They moved me here, I mentioned earlier. Have you ever thought of homesteading or growing more food crops, not just decorative? Love your slightly tongue-in-cheek, naughty sense of humor. Thank you so much. And who in your family would you say you got your humor from? And tell us a little bit about your relationship with them. So anytime that I record in my backyard, I also get hate about why is it that I don't have it filled with vegetables and a garden and plants and all the things. And again, it's a lot. It's not just you plop a plant outside and call it a day. You have to care for it. And so not only just that, but I also have regulations that I have to abide by in this house. And so would I love to one day have a small home with homestead and chickens and all that? Absolutely, I would, but that's not in my cards right now. My home is my only really thing that has not changed, and I don't have plans on changing that just yet. So eventually, absolutely, I would love to do that, but right now I'm just doing the best that I can with growing the plants, either in my home, my tropical plants, or my beefs outside on the side. There's a lot of things that you don't see either. I don't like to show my whole house for, obvious reasons, but I do flowers every year. I do native flowers. I have hostas around. I want to do sunflowers over on the side here, and I have my small garden bed. So I do the things, I just don't always share the things. My humor, I'd say both my parents, my whole family really, we don't take things too seriously around here. We're pretty goofy. I feel like humor is a big part of who we are and the family. So where is the best place to get plants? Where are some of the coolest plants in your opinion? wherever I can get them, I will grab them. So I have a local nursery that I love. It's a smaller town here, so it's not like it's a large nursery, but I love going there at least once a week, and I just walk around. Most of the times I'll buy a plant from there. If there's one that I like at a big box store, I will get that too. There's no shade in that. If anything, I will take those plants too and rescue them if they need. Or I have some plant sellers that I have used for years, so I'll put that in the description below of some plant sellers that I've recommended that I've had good experiences with. But look at the reviews. Etsy, I've gotten a few from. Look at their reviews, see what other people are saying. I know there's people that will look at Facebook groups. They have plant groups there too. There's always some kind of recommendation on there as well. So, but yeah, I'll put the plant sellers that I enjoy in the description too. I think that is it. It is way past my lunchtime, so I gotta go get some food. I gotta clean up here. And yeah, but I just wanted to take a second to just thank you all for showing up here every day, for your questions. I want to do more of these, and I feel like it's a chance for you to get to know me a little with the plants and behind the plants as well. And just thank you for your continued support. It truly means the world to me, and my life would have been a lot different if I didn't have you guys here supporting me, and it really means a lot. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I will be back with the new video here soon. Thank you for watching. Bye.